I used to be so ashamed and embarrassed of myself, of what I used to get up to high on the packet. See, under the influence, I would just turn into such a weirdo. And as time went by, things just escalated all out of control. I never knew what I'd be getting myself into with drugs. I never imagined that I would go on to have an addiction and be lost for many years, 13 years. See, I remember the first time that I literally had a line under each nostril. Mate, I was off my trolley. But the thing is, the euphoria, God, I'm just so aroused, and next minute, well, I'm watching the hub. That's when the penny dropped. It's like, what? Wow. Sensations I never thought possible. My libido just heightened. Sexual overdrive. And so, well, I decided to have that experience again, but it just snowballed all out of control from that point moving forward. I distinctively remember getting so high once that my lower regions, and I mean everything to do with my lower regions, was just so sensitive and aroused. And I proceeded to explore, to then be like, what the hell? Like, the sensations was just unreal. And I remember the following day going on Reddit trying to understand what the hell was going on and why, like my butt and stuff like that would feel great. And I found out that you got a prostate, and hearing other stories that, apparently you can have a multiple orgasm. And I was like, I've got to try this. And this just turned into an unhealthy obsession. Things just, as I said, just getting all out of control, being lost for years. See, the problem is that I never once was able to have an ejaculation, or let alone experience what I was always seeking to experience. And it just turned into this fantasy. One of the craziest things I've ever done was looking forward to being by myself while the missus was away. I had an eighth, and I literally had the 50-inch TV playing the hub with split screen compilations with different scenes. And I'm rushing, and I'm just dribbling out of my mouth, and but see, previous to that, things got really dark, because I started to get curious, and I took it a step further to the point there was a local sex shop, and I already had my mind out what I was going to get up to. I had a couple of packets in my pocket. I found the courage to go to the sex shop, and I remember seeing all these butt plugs, all these dildos, cock rings, what have you, like fleshlights, all sorts. I grabbed this, I grabbed that, put it on the counter, grabbed some lube. But then there was also poppers. These brown bottles that I asked the maid, like, what's them? And it was like, oh, yeah, they're poppers. And I was like, what they for? And it was like, oh, you sniff them, and it makes you feel euphoric. It makes you feel sensitive and loosens you up. And I took out the packet, and I was like, looks like that would go hand in hand with what I got planned tonight, because of course everything on the counter, right? He stumbled back, surprised by my openness, but then leaned forward, gave me a wink, and said, looks like you're going to have loads of fun tonight. But yeah, half the problem was that I was just always paranoid. I was always just making out like a meerkat. I don't know if it's because deep down, all I was doing was just judging myself either way. I mean, I'm heterosexual for one. Or that I just had this feeling like I was bringing unwanted attention onto myself. Because for one, you're moaning and groaning from the top of your lungs, and, you know, that's got such a distinct sound. And when there's lube involved and what have you, I mean, come on. But yeah, I mean, I was uncomfortable under my own skin before, but this just heightened and created a whole other animal, one of which I was just so insecure, and I used to shame and be so embarrassed, and had this fear that most people would just point the finger at me like, oh, you heard about him? Proper weirdo. So why am I sharing this? Well, I've had to make peace with that shame and embarrassment, to find solace within myself and allow myself to heal. I've had to embrace and accept myself, and also accept my truth and my story and my past. Fast forward to my recovery. You know, I dropped like a sack of potatoes. I literally hit as rock bottom as you can. I ended up losing everything, including almost having lost my life. Personal development's been the best thing that's ever happened in my life. I'm so thankful, because I've gone on to grow as an individual. And one of the reasons why you see me often talk about NoFap here is because, well, what's the answer if you have a battered self-esteem, a fragile relationship with yourself? Your integrity's just shot to bits. You don't respect yourself. You don't love yourself. You have no self-control. And as much as you try to help yourself, you can't seem to be able to help yourself, and you keep relapsing over and over again. NoFap was the answer. Because I found out that all he was ever doing whenever I was watching porn, regardless if I was under the influence or not, was it was always fueling that desire. And so, again, I'm sharing this message because I want those that need to hear it to receive it. There's no shame, there's no embarrassment, that fear is nothing but an illusion, because at the end of the day, nothing in life defines you. You are the one that gets to define it. And the only way to move forward is to begin to embrace yourself, to support yourself, be there for yourself, and ask yourself, okay, cool, right. How do we move forward? How do I now hold myself to a high standard, hold myself accountable, and just literally outgrow all these childish behaviors and the need to ever want to use again? How do I make peace with that person? And how do I become the person that I was always capable of being?